Are you a Christian woman who is feeling totally defeated in your life? Like you're dissatisfied, you're disillusioned, maybe you're jaded.
Today, we want to share with you some steps on how to get out of that feeling, on how to start living maybe a better version of yourself. And we're going to just give you some steps that you can follow so that you can get out of that funk.
Because really, what those things are telling us is that you're lacking a purpose in your life. And so we want to share with you some steps on how to actually figure out and start living the purpose that God has for your life.
We don't want to be defeated. We want to live victoriously. And those words are so easy to say, but what do they mean? And how do we live a victorious life?
I think the first thing that we want to talk about in regards to living your purpose, and how so many women, Christian women specifically, are living this defeated life, right? We're unhappy, we're unsatisfied, and we've lost confidence in the fact that God has created us for a purpose. And so then life just kind of gets humdrum, because if you have nothing to offer the world, then you're not really living how God has asked you to live, because he created you with unique gifts and talents, and he's asking you to use them to serve and bless other people.
That's right. So if you're getting up every morning, slumped over, defeated, kind of in that victim mentality, or like, what is this life all about?
Yeah, well, it's just another day to fill.
That's a humdrum life that God is not calling us to live by. He is calling us to live victoriously. He's calling us to be joyful, thankful, grateful, and to let our light shine. Letting our light shine is living your life on purpose, with purpose, and for purpose. So how do we start doing that? But before we do that, if you like this topic, give us a thumbs up, give us a comment, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we want you to follow along so that you can live out your purpose.
Exactly. So if you're here feeling like, whoa, that sounds like me, then we have a little bit of a roadmap that we want to take you through today to help you with some actual practical steps that you can take to start turning that around. Because like Ruth said, we have to start living like we are more than conquerors, because we know, according to the Bible, that we are more than conquerors. So let's live like it.
That's right. And part of that is all having to do with healthy Christian living. If we want to be healthy, we have to be healthy in every aspect of our life. There's a lot of aspects of life.
A lot of aspects of health.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And finding our purpose is one of them. So what's the first step in this roadmap or blueprint for living?
I think the first step is identifying where you are. Identifying, you know what, I am feeling unhappy. I am feeling defeated by life, or disillusioned, or dissatisfied, or humdrum, or floundering. Like maybe you would use a different word to describe your life, but if there's that like itch inside of you, or that sense of like there has to be more to life. It reminds me of that old Switchfoot song, we were meant to live for so much more.
That's right.
And so many of us are not living for so much more. So the first step is really identifying that this is where I am.
And it's okay to say that, because as a believer, God knows how you feel anyway. So you may as well tell him how you feel and say it out loud.
Yeah.
It's okay to be where you're at, because the next step is actually deciding that you want to change, making that decision, which is, it's going to be challenging. It might be hard, but you do want to make a change, because you want to stop living defeated. You want to stop that feeling of dissatisfaction or disillusionment. You're tired of the humdrum. So yeah, decide to change, even when it's going to be hard.
Exactly. And another big part of the deciding piece is surrendering it. And I think you touched on that when you said God already knows.
That's right.
But the more that we can put language to it and acknowledge and decide and then surrender, you know what? The more that this journey is going to start going like on the up and up for you.
That's right, because that is a two-way communion with God. We're telling him how we feel, and we're going to surrender ourselves to him, but we're going to listen to what he tells us in his word as well.
Exactly. So the third step is to actually get clear on who you are. And this might sound kind of funny, because like we know that, I know I'm Casey, I know where I live, I know all these things about myself, but do I actually know the gifts and the talents that God's given me? Do I know the things that I'm passionate about? Do I believe that I am who God says I am? And we always say, we are women chosen for greatness. Do I believe that? Do I know that about myself?
I know. And that's a really big whole topic in itself. So like when we're talking about these steps, they're not just short little steps.
No.
This is going to take some time to figure all of this out.
And some effort.
Yeah. You might already know what your gifts and talents are, but maybe you're not using them. Or I'm going to also say that in different phases of your life, these change. God has given us different abilities to use at different stages of our life. I'm in a different phase than Casey. Casey's my daughter. She's way younger than me. But do I still have a purpose? Oh, yeah. And so do you.
Yeah. And my purpose is different right now than it was 10 years ago because now I have small children. Right. And so we go through these ebbs and flows of life that, you know what, maybe our gifts and talents and, gifts from God, who God made us to be, maybe that doesn't necessarily change. I think it grows and changes over time. But, my gifts could still be the same as they were 10 years ago, but maybe I'm passionate about some different things. Maybe I'm passionate about helping somebody today than differently than I was 10 years ago. So we change and we grow. And so we have to get clear on who we are right now.
That's right.
And where we actually want to even serve. Because, I remember one time I went on a missions trip, a short-term missions trip from church. This is years ago already. And our kind of slogan or saying for our trip that we had printed on shirts to go together as a team was blessed to be a blessing.
Good saying.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we're talking about here, right?
That's
when
right.
we live out our purpose, we are blessing other people, but in turn, we are blessed.
And that brings us the satisfaction that we're looking for in life. If we're floundering, we have no purpose, then life is meaningless. And that's what Ezekiel is all about. And, we don't want to go there. We want to serve and be a blessing because then we are blessed. Yeah.
So the next step.
Yeah, the next step is all about your mindset. And that's kind of about the blessing and getting blessed yourself, because the more we give, and we have to give and receive, but the more we give, the more satisfied we are with our life. It kind of is like this domino effect where you give and you want to give more, and then you want to give way more. And you just want to be that blessing for others. You want to serve. But mindset is that step where if we don't believe that we can actually live out our purpose, then we get stuck at step 3. We might know what we have. We might know the gifts and talents. We might know what we're passionate about, but we're stuck because we don't have the confidence or we don't believe that we can actually do it. And that's another whole big step.
Yeah, that one I think is one that is an eternal work in progress as we are here on this earth.
That's right, because we just talked about this morning, Casey and I, about how our confidence level can go down the tube in one thought.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's all about what's going on up here between our ears. It's a constant, that's why we often talk about, and we believe that the Bible says, take your thoughts captive, because those thoughts have the ability to take you from here to here or here to here.
That's right.
And so the mindset shift
is
a really big one. And, a lot of people get stuck here because it's challenging. It's challenging. If you're feeling like these are my gifts, so many people go like, yeah, but who cares about that? Nobody needs that. How can I actually help somebody with that? It doesn't really matter. I'm not good enough at that. There's somebody who's better at that than me. We come up with all these reasons why, excuses why we are not enough, or nobody wants what we can offer, or all of these things that keep us stuck and that keep us from actually living on purpose.
Which is such a defeatist attitude when you think about what you just said.
Yeah.
And that's how we're not wanting to live. We want to live victorious lives. And so, yeah, that mindset is a big one. And we could talk about that for an hour just alone.
So we'll probably do some more videos coming up. So make sure that you've subscribed because they will be good.
Okay, so what's the next step?
The next step is to actually commit to using your gifts. And what that means is you have to make a plan. You have to figure out who you want to serve and where they are so that you can actually serve them.
And that's where this changes with different stages of your life. Like when you have little kids, often you find yourself helping out in areas where your little children are.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a grandmother like me, sometimes I still help out there, but maybe I want to help out with people who are my age, the senior category.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even like to say that word, but I'm a senior or almost a senior. And so maybe that's where I'm being called to serve.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be open and willing to know where God is calling us to use our gifts and talents so that we are satisfied and blessed in giving and serving.
Mm-hmm. And that can go so much further. We often talk about one lady in particular that we've worked with who was a nurse, and she has gone through a crazy roller coaster of a life, like we all do, but she's passionate about supporting and encouraging nurses. And so there are a million gifts, more than a million.
Yeah.
God has created each and every one of us so uniquely with such unique gifts and passions and talents. And there's a need for how God has created you. That's why you're here, because God has put you here
for that
purpose. And so when we are living this defeated life, then you know what? Yeah, God can still use us. Yeah, God can still work miracles, but we don't want to miss out on these opportunities that God has created for us, uniquely for us, uniquely for you, because we're living a humdrum life where we have no confidence. How sad is that?
That's right. And so let's not do that.
No.
Let's get out of that mindset and let's live a life without regret, because we want to have the blessing from God. We want to be highly favored, which we are because we're women chosen for greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And when we use our gifts and talents for His glory, then we are so blessed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So let's do a quick recap.
Yeah.
The first step is to actually identify who you are, where you're at, what's happening.
Step 2 is to actually decide that you're going to change.
And surrender.
And even if it's difficult.
Step 3 is to get clear on who you are. And you are a beautiful woman chosen for greatness.
And step 4 is changing your mindset, having that mindset shift to actually believe that you can do it, because you can.
Mm-hmm. And then step 5 is all about committing to using your gifts and, figuring out, making that plan for how you're actually going to put action to this topic and to this language.
And I'm going to say the conclusion, the end, maybe it's step 6, because there really is no end, is to live that life without regret.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to live our life, like we said, with purpose, on purpose, and for purpose, because that's who God created us to be.
Exactly. So, we know that this is a huge, huge topic and not something that you're going to figure out from watching this one little video. Those are steps that you can start working through. But we've actually put together a free workshop that we've called Revive, because we want Christian women to be revived.
That's
so
right.
That we actually can go out and do the amazing things that God has called each one of us to do.
Like we want to do the happy dance so that you're not living a defeatist life.
Exactly. And so we would invite you to register for that free workshop. It's a 3-day workshop, which just means that you have like a 30-minute-ish video to watch for 3 days. It's not like a full day retreat.
It's not like 9 to 5 where it's like tons of work. No, it's not like that at all. It's about a half-hour video, some, introspection questions to figure out what your purpose is.
Exactly. And to have that revival in your life. So the link is going to be down below in the description. We would highly encourage you to register for it and go through that workshop, because we know that you will learn something from it. And we have prayed over that material, over that content, that it would bless women and that it would help to start this revival in you.
So go ahead and check it out. And we always like to end all our videos with,
treat your body like a temple, not a trash can.